This is a screencast recording for the DevOps project milestone 1. Our team essentially includes Sharath, Swagat, and myself. Myself, Rahul. So let's look at what we'll be using for setting up the build environment. So in order to set up the build environment, we're basically using Jenkins for a continuous integration of the code. This whole setup, Jenkins has been configured and deployed on DigitalOcean on this particular public IP address, right? So this is so we are using Jenkins because it is feature loaded and provides a lot of interface. It provides a good interface to look at the build status and other factors, right? So that's why we're using Jenkins. So also I'll show you the Git repo that we'll be using for the project. This is the Git repo. We're using a Java project. In order to set up the Java environment, we're using Maven. So Maven reads from this particular XML file and sets up the dependencies that is required, the compiler version, the Java version, and other factors. So Java is responsible for the Maven is responsible for the build environment, and we're using Java. Now, also we'll just have a quick look at the code. It's a code to return the unique ID, and also for this particular code, we have test cases written that checks if the returned unique ID is 36 bits or not. So let's look at so we have looked at the Git repo. So now we'll be showing the demo for the first demo. Let's look at triggered builds and build management execution. So this part will be taken care by Jenkins when it runs the Maven script. So let's look at the job that is configured. The local build will basically run on the master branch, right? So the job configuration will essentially read from this particular location on the VM. So this is the particular location that we are on right now. So if you look at the folder location, this is essentially where Jenkins is going to do the build, right? Now the build trigger will essentially be a post commit. In this case, what we're doing is a post commit hook. So we'll also show you the post commit hook that will be used to send a curl request to the web browser where the job will be triggered. So the post commit will be in the post commit hooks file. So this is what it looks like. So what we're doing is we're matching the branch. If it is a master branch, run the local build job on the Jenkins server. The remaining part of the code will be used for the later part, wherein we have to do different build for different branches. So right now we are concerned only with this particular part, which will run this particular local build job. So this is the local build job that we were looking at. So it's going to run and it's going to execute the Maven package command. And also we have post build actions that are set up that will send an email notification. So let's look at also before running the build, this is the particular folder that we are on, Jenkins workspace local build, and here you can see that right now there is no particular folder that is created. So once Maven runs, Maven is going to set up the environment, and if the build is successful, it is going to create a target folder. So this is basically the first two parts of our project, that is a triggered build and dependency build script execution. So let's look at so now let's quickly make a particular change. Git status, we can see that there's nothing to commit. So let's make a small change in the code and then commit that change to see if it triggers the build. So what I'm going to do is just comment out this particular line. It's just going to print out the unique ID, and then I'm going to add it to the particular to the Git repo. So it's added. Let's look at the Git status. So it's modified. Now we are ready to commit. So commit. So now let's look at I'll keep the window open. So essentially what should happen is your local build should get triggered, right? The local build project wherein we had specified the main repo should get triggered. So git commit -m removed commits. So we are ready for the commit, and There we go, it just committed. As you can see, number 13, the job has just been triggered. The job is the job has been triggered. This has been triggered by the Git hooks that will basically send a curl request to the Jenkins web server and trigger the Jenkins local build job. Now the job is running. Once the job completes, we'll be able to look at the status of the job. The job has completed successfully. The blue color indicates success. Now we go to the console output. As we can see, Maven has successfully extracted, installed the plugins, and the test cases has been run. And we can see that there was one test and it is a success, and the build finished and it's a success. So what we would see in the workspace is now we have the target folder that is created with the jar file for execution. As you can see, the jar file is present. So this is essentially the first two parts where we have shown the triggered build and dependency management. As you can see, the Jenkins provide a very useful interface for looking at the build status. So once we go back to project local build, we can see the build history that is present here, right? We have this. Now if you want to see the trend of the particular build, we can see when the tests were run and what is the status of each build here using this particular interface. So this is how we view our timeline and build history. And also let's look at the post build triggers, right? So the post build trigger that we have used for our local build is essentially just sending out an email in case your build fails, right? So this is the email address to which we have to send out an email. So let's quickly make a small change in the particular Java code, wherein we'll have the build fail, right? So this is the line that I'm editing, where we'll check where we are going to make a simple syntactic error. Now once this is done, we can do git add, and then we'll run the commit to see introduced typo, right? So this is essentially, let's look at how the build, and if we're going to get a post build message. So as you can see, once I have committed the particular branch, build 14 was triggered. Build 14 is now running, and we can check the status for build 14, right? After making that particular change. So build 14, so as you can see, build 14 failed. As let's look at the reason. So when you look at the console output, we know the reason, right? It is expected to see a semicolon. So that is the reason why the build failed, and we should essentially also see an email that we get from Jenkins. This is the post build trigger that we used. So we get an email with the error logs, which we can now correct. So let's go back to the build. What we're going to do now is correct the code. Java, and let's fix the error that we introduced. Right, so this is fixed. Git add and git commit. Fixed error, right? So this should essentially trigger the next build. As you can see, build 15 is triggered. So we are on the master branch right now, so that's why we are running a job. So now we are running local build 15, and so this is basically part 2, where we're looking at build status and external build job triggers. As you can see, build 15 was successful, and we can look at the console output, and we see that the success is passed, sending email to this one. This, so we can check if we have received an email. As you can see, we have received, and the build is successful in this case. Thank you. 4, wherein we have multiple branches and multiple jobs that we have. As you can see, the Jenkins dashboard, we have 4 Jenkins jobs configured. The local build is for the master. Then we have the dev branch, the release branch, and the master branch. So the local build is for master. Then we have the dev, release, and the remote build. The remote build is triggered via Git hooks, Git webhooks. So this is when we push a master the git repo to the git repo. The git repo will in turn trigger a remote build job. So this is triggered by webhooks. So we'll look at all of them. So right now we are on the master branch. So let's check out the dev branch. As you can see, this is the dev branch. Now in order to show, let's look at the dev release, right? The dev local build. So we have just two jobs right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file, touch hello3, git add hello3, git commit -m added hello3, right? So essentially when I commit this local build dev is configured to read from again the local file. This is the local git repo on my local machine, and it is going to check for the particular dev branch and then use the normal trigger, which is the git hooks, to build the package. So the process that we're using is to execute maven package, and again we're using the same email notification system. So once we commit, let's run the commit. As you can see, the commit took place and the job 3 has been triggered. So as you can see, in this case we will not have a separate job that is triggered for local build. This last was 15, so we can see local build and other so the dev is running and the remote other jobs are not triggered. This is possible via the git hooks. So I'll just quickly have a look at the git hooks. So the build was successful. So git hooks post commit hook. So this here we're checking that if it is the dev branch that we are on, then send a curl request to local build dev job, and that is what is being executed right now. So suppose now, so similarly we can see that for the release branch as well. So suppose we have the commit completed. Now what we want to do is merge the dev and the master branches. So let's go to git checkout master, git merge dev. So here's a message, merging dev branch. So as we can see, the files have been modified, and what we should see right now is the dev and the master branches have been merged now. So I'm on the master branch. I can see all the hello files that are created now that was there in the dev branch. Now what we're going to do is we need to push the changes that are there in the master to the git repo. So git push origin master. So this is logging in to the git repo. As we can see, the master has been successfully pushed. Now this should essentially trigger the remote build job. As we can see, the remote build has been triggered. The remote build job has been triggered. So this is as you can see, this is we have the GitHub hook logs that are present. So this has been triggered whenever there's a push to the git repo. Let me show you the git repo. So this is my git repo, and here in my settings we have configured the webhooks, which will, whenever there's a push to the repo, it will trigger the remote job. So as you can see, the remote build is successful, and we can see the GitHub hook logs as well. It requires a build history and display over HTTP. Since we're using Jenkins, we already have a very neat display of the builds, of the previous builds and the build history, as we have seen. So this is the trend and build history that we see. Also, we have the ability to look at particular the build history over HTML by using by using Jenkins that already does this for us. So as you can see, the build history is neatly laid out in a HTML format uh, by using the XML API of Jenkins. So this is essentially uh, the the screencast for milestone 1 of project. Thank you for watching.